The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 688. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is a social media influencer, a podcaster, and also a community builder. And I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Stacey Lu. Stacey, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more by yourself to the listeners.
Hi, Sheena. Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me on. So I am, as you said, a social media influencer. I have my own podcast with a friend, and I also just started to do some community building through Instagram. I'm currently 29 years old. I live in Orange County, California, and this is pretty much where I grew up, but I moved around a lot during my teenage years, but also throughout my 20s. Yeah, so when I was 14, my family and I upped and moved to Beijing, and I finished up high school there at international school. And then I basically left home when I was 18, went to college in Pittsburgh, and stayed on the East Coast for many years, lived in New York for 5 years, and then just moved back recently.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And Stacey, what's your cultural background?
I'm Chinese, but I grew up in California, so I'm like a true Chinese American.
Thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I came across this quote recently, and it's by Bruce Lee. He said, "I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine."
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
To me, I think true self-confidence, it starts when you embrace and accept who you are as a person.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And Stacey, what was your life like before you discovered self-confidence?
When I was younger, I always portrayed myself as outwardly confident, or I would use humor or dress in a way or carried myself in a way to try to prove to other people that I was confident. But inside, I was very, very insecure, and I felt like I needed validation from every external factor to make me feel worthy. And I was constantly comparing myself to everyone. Like, am I as pretty as her? Am I doing as well as this person? How far along my professional life is. And all of this really fed into depression and insecurities and really hurt my self-esteem.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think, that's something we all go through, right? We just, especially the comparing game, right? We're so good at the comparing game, especially when you have ads of what a perfect woman should look like, or even on Instagram where they have those perfectly curated photos. Sometimes it can bring us down because why don't I look like her? Why don't I have that flat abs that she does? Or, you know what I mean? We're so hard on ourselves, and we just have to realize those things are altered. Not everything, but especially with ads, right? So many things are altered when they put that up on a big screen. And sometimes in Instagram, right, it's super edited, some of the photos that you see. So we have to realize the photos look great, and we just have to kind of detach from ourselves from that and realize I am more than enough. And it was that point in your life where you realized you are more than enough to be who you are today and have that confidence. What was that aha moment?
I was really reflecting on this question a lot when I was going through the questions. And I think it was probably a few years back when I was at the lowest point of my life. I was going through a really rough time in my personal life, and I just really felt just at my rock bottom. I thought I could change things if I changed the way I looked. And I went on this crazy, insane diet that was really, really unhealthy for me, almost led to, anorexia. But luckily I caught myself before I completely destroyed my body. And I realized that, there was that brief moment of almost fake happiness after I lost those pounds, but it did not last. And at my core, I was still miserable. I was unhappy. I was lonely, and I felt stuck. So it was in that moment where I realized, I needed to actively work on myself. And in order to change, I needed to change things from the inside out. And that was really the start of my self-love, my self-rediscovery, my self-care journey. And it was around the same time where I discovered the world of Instagram and I started posting pictures of myself. And instead of kind of copying the other influencers, I used my Instagram as a microblog. And I would write captions about what I was going through, the mental health journey, my self-care journey, my insecurities. And I really got a great response from people who felt the same way. And I really liked that I was able to help other people through their problems by sharing my problems.
Thanks for sharing that. And, I love how you mentioned, you were sharing everything about you because being authentic is not always just sharing the ups. It's like the good, bad, and the ugly. And that's fine, right? Because then, people who follow you or, your audience can actually relate to you and realize she's going through what I'm going through or a similar journey and I can come out of it because I've seen her come out of it. And, we all go through bad things, right? Sometimes I just feel like it's like a taboo to talk about it. But, if we talk, it's okay if we share about it because, especially when we overcome it, people can see it is possible to get out of the situation that we're in right now. And, because of your realizations, what's your life been like now?
Well, I can tell you that I'm not 100% there yet. And I do believe that as human beings, we're always works in progress. I have my great days where, I am super confident and I'm happy. But I also have my really dark days when my insecurities and my depression creeps out of nowhere. But when I realized that, I don't need anyone else's approval, that I could live life on my own terms. And that really gave me peace. I felt at peace with myself and with everything that I am, my accomplishments, my flaws, my character, my connections, my actions, and my thoughts. If I am proud of who I am as a person and everything I do in a day, then I think everything will be okay.
Thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
I think this is something that I have to continually remind myself of too, that, instead of comparing yourself to other people, because everyone is different, everyone has their own different circumstances, compare yourself to your past self. Because you're only in competition with yourself. And if you're continually bettering yourself, then that's something that you can be proud of. And also know that you already have all the tools that you need to accomplish anything you set your mind to. And this is something that my parents have always instilled in me, that you should always just be kind to everyone. And I'm going to add on to that. You should be kind to everyone, but most especially yourself.
Thanks for sharing that great tip. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do or check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Of course. You can always find me on Instagram. My handle is STCLU, spelled out those letters. And my podcast with my partner is called Tea Talk with Alyssa and Stacey, and we're on all the podcast platforms.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Stacey, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Stacey's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Stacey today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Stacey.
Thank you. It was great talking with you today.
Not a problem. It was an honor to have you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free audiobook by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.